Welcome to The System Works, the lifestyle channel that shows you who you are, what you truly want, and how to get it. The System Works. Own it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another wonderful episode of The System Works. I'm your host, Ernest Phillips, and today's topic, what is the secret to being special? Good chance that someone in your life has told you something about, oh, you're wonderful, you're lovable, you're special, you're a good person, you have a good heart, something. And there's also a pretty good chance that you said, yeah, whatever, no, or, no, I'm not. You rejected it. And then along comes a stranger that gives you a compliment and suddenly that works. Yeah. So we'll get into the why that happens. But good chance you don't receive it in. What is the secret to being special? Self-awareness. The tug tip for today, being special is about self-awareness, not external treatment. When those individuals are giving you a compliment and you don't receive it in, you don't feel special. How do you feel special? It's time to figure out why you're valuable. What is it that you do well? What is it that you are good at? One of my favorite questions that I've ever heard anyone ask was, it's a teacher, and she asked her kids, how are you intelligent? Not are you. The assumption is you are intelligent, and we all have certain things. Sure, 99.9% genetically we're the same, okay? That's fact, which does mean all the things that we're fighting over and all of our differences comes down to less than 1%. It really makes us look silly when we're doing all that fighting over just such a small percentage of differences. However, what makes you special? And I get this question a lot when someone is going through dating, a divorce, marriage, when they're doing interviews, when they are doing a career change. I'm going to give you some great examples, at least great in my mind. So here we go. One of them, for me, I am not detail oriented. I don't like paperwork. I'm not good at it. Not at all. I think I'm better at talking. We'll let you decide that since you haven't seen me do paperwork. Good chance that I'm correct on this one. I had this job long time ago, and I would tell people in interviews, if the job requires more than 25% of my workload paperwork, don't hire me because I'm not going to fulfill what you need me to do. Sure enough, one of the jobs that I took ended up shifting, and about 50% of my work duties became paperwork. And I worked with a guy, and I'd worked with him at that position. I'd also worked with him at a previous job, which required 50% paperwork. Also, they told me that it was never going to get over 25%. And there I am, I'm on a performance improvement plan because of I'm behind on paperwork. And he comes over and he's asking me what's going on. I said, another PIP. And he said, paperwork? I go, yep. And we both laughed. I didn't feel bad about myself because I was on a performance plan. I knew I was now going to have to work harder. I knew I was now going to have to learn new tasks. I didn't feel bad because I knew I wasn't good at that. As far as I'm concerned, that was their fault. I warned them. I gave them all the information they needed to make sure I was going to be successful. And I told them, if you don't do that, you're going to be punished. You are going to hurt. I'm going to feel fine about who I am. Here's another example. I worked with a young man. I say younger than me. Everybody's younger than me. I call them young man now, or a young person. And one of the things that he was working on was leadership. And he never could figure out that he was already a leader. until he switched jobs and he was in sales and we had worked on the sales process, and he had gotten very good at sales, and he wasn't even one of the top people in his department. And we're doing coaching, and he asked, why am I valuable? Why can't I be a leader? And I identified a few things that he had already shared. For example, when they would go to lunch, they would ask him. When they were working on a new process, they would ask him. When he would bring up something, they would stop talking. And I asked him, does that happen for everybody else? And very flippantly and no. As if, no. He mentioned a couple other people that were behind the scenes. One didn't talk very much. One was older and about to retire. And there was another one that was outspoken, but no one really respected that guy. What he had not realized is they were already putting him up as a leader. And his biggest issue was, how can I be a leader if I'm not even the top salesperson? Leading, and if you've seen one of the other episodes, leading does not require people to follow, but it is certainly a good indicator. They were giving him all of the aspects of leadership, even though he didn't have the title. Now, I'll give you one more example. I coached a woman she had been divorced, and she was starting to date again. And all she could see was what she wasn't. She wasn't young. She wasn't as thin as she used to be. She wasn't this. That's all she saw was what she isn't. And we helped identify the things that she is. And for each one of the things that she acknowledged, we gave a perk to. So if you are not young, chances are you're older. I know. See what I did there? I did some math, right? What happens with older? Maturity. Maturity is a very big thing. There's a lot of people that do not want to date immature individuals. So that was one of them. There was another one. Her lifestyle, now she was healthy. She wasn't as thin as she used to be. But guess what? There's a lot of men that want a woman who is of a variety of sizes. Shocker. I know Cosmo has told you that you need to be a size 2 or 4 or size 0. I know society has told you that. I'm sure some guy has probably told you that, or your girlfriends, and everybody celebrates when you lose weight. Well, guess what? You're probably normal size. She was a very typical size. And there are guys who like that. Matter of fact, there's a lot of men who really don't care nearly as much as you think they do about your size. I know right now there's a lot of men who are saying, yes, finally someone said it. And I can hear a lot of women saying, I still don't believe you. I get it. I'm not going to try to convince you, but I'm going to tell you there's a lot of truth to it. So for every one of the things that she didn't like about herself, we would find a few that she did. And then we would match that with these are positives. And suddenly it started to click and her confidence came back. And now she wasn't worried about the guys that were rejecting her in her mind. They just weren't asking her out. That's not a rejection. That doesn't count. She started to focus on what are the type of men that she was a good fit for. And she totally flipped the script. And now she was looking for a target audience. She was looking for a mature man with a stable job, without drama, that enjoyed doing things. Just doing things. She hated the couch potatoes. She would have not liked me. My outdoor activities include golf and now pickleball on occasion. I did play tennis once recently, and that was the first time in 2 decades. I still don't feel good. So I wouldn't be her target audience. And there's a lot of guys who are not her target audience. So she started to look for what was there instead of focusing on what wasn't. And she realized she is special and she is valuable and she is worthy of a healthy relationship. It was amazing. And she smiled more. So here is your action step. Identify the things that you do, that you like to do. It's not about being the best. If you run a race and you finish, that means you finished ahead of everybody who didn't run a race. If you've ever watched the Olympics and you can watch the decathlons or you can watch one of the long races and there's a person that basically got lapped, guess what? They finished ahead of you. They finished ahead of me. They were the best their country could send. They were the best in a country. When do you get to say you were the best in your country at anything? Identify what you do, what you like to do. I know someone who loves to play video games. That's his thing. Guess what? There are girls out there that, guess what they like to do? They like to play video games too. He's like, I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. There's a lot of women who identify themselves as geeks and nerds. And you know what? Guess what they're looking for? The athletes. No, they're looking for geeks and nerds so they can kick it and play video games together. They can have a common bond for whatever it is that you are. That is what makes you special. So treat me like a stranger, and I'm telling you you're special. What's in it for you? What's the Wi-Fi? You've been special. You are special. Isn't it about time that you own up to that? Isn't it about time that you get the perks of being special? I mean, you are, so own it. Enjoy it. You've done the work. Identify that. Now, if you want to know 2 methods that I like to help people, I guide people to be more self-aware, there's 2 of them. There is the colors, and that is an awesome tool. I use that in coaching. And then there's also the values fingerprint. You can go to www.valuesfingerprint.com. There might even be a link in the YouTube channel. I think there is. Go there. Find out what your top 10 core values are. Those top 10 start from over 400. I guarantee you, you're special and you'll be able to see it really quickly. The number of people who are going to have your exact 10, small. The number are going to have your 10 in that order, smaller. So find out who you are. Be more self-aware. Enjoy you. There's only one of you. You might as well get better at being it. Have a great one. We'll see you again. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The System Works. Have fun with the action steps. Enjoy the Wi-Fis. Click like, click subscribe, and comment. The good and the bad, we like them all. We look forward to seeing you next time. The System Works. Own it.